Here is my review of my time at Sandrock in just 3 minutes. Farming sims have been in a weird spot basically since the launch and subsequent popularity explosion of Stardew Valley. The rise of so many farming simulators has meant both the technical floor and ceiling has expanded. Creativity has thrived to make some fantastic titles, but a more cynical person might opt to move to a market that's only getting bigger by the day. My time at Sandrock never quite fits into either category, but reaches much closer to the first. Though I applaud it when I see it, that passion doesn't always pay off. The same can be said for Animal Crossing likes. These are the two games that my time at Sandrock borrowed most heavily from. I'll take you through my first few minutes with the game to show you what I mean. Initially, you pick your name, your look, and then you're on your way. You take over a house in Sandrock where you must find your way into the small desert town, running errands and fixing things for its many very needy villagers. This is a simplistic start that never really moves past it, but it doesn't need to. When you look up at the signs, it's slapped on with a stock font and little creative flair. It might give you the impression the game is a bit lazy or uncared for, but a few minutes more with it shows this is never really the case. It doesn't just have farming sim elements, it also has social systems, RPG mechanics, and far more than one would expect from the pretty simplistic box art. Developer Pathia has kept that same style and many of the mechanics of the previous game, My Time at Portia, and unfortunately has also kept many of its problems. For one, it goes from quite quick to painfully slow at the drop of a hat. This is partially down to how the game manages its resources. You need a certain type of pickaxe to get a certain resource, but you won't get that until you start a quest from some point after day 10. To get to day 10, you have to, as you might expect, sleep 10 times. This means your ability to rush through parts and work at your own pace is killed for much of the early game. Unfortunately, this ends up in days where you're constantly moving and discovering new things, and lulls where the game grinds to a halt. It doesn't help that My Time at Sandrock is tonally a little lost. At points, it reminds me of those 2008 Wii games where every character's head is a little too big and the uncanny valley is in full effect. However, these flaws come through harder because of how much potential My Time at Sandrock has. Sandrock itself is a varied town with tons of little personalities, lots of different areas to get involved in, and quite a lot to do when it's not slowing you down. It keeps pulling back more and more, making the game just a little more complex as it goes. I admire the idea of what Pathia is doing, but it doesn't quite nail the balance. The end of the game is never difficult enough to justify the level of hand-holding it engages in. As you get further in, the game opens up, but it still never quite catches the speed it feels like it really needs. The plot is quick, but fighting, crafting, and even moving is quite slow. Sandrock is a town that is under constant pressure from low water supplies to roaming bandits. In this sense, the story is quite action-tense with attempts at proper set pieces, an impressive feat. It feels like it has more of a personality than My Time at Portia, but still struggles to justify some of its central mechanics. Mining returns, but fails to meaningfully build on what My Time at Portia did. In it, you dig through layers of a mine, finding rare items to put in the museum and resources to build your next main project. Ultimately, the grind of sim games like these rely on you sitting back, getting cozy, and losing hours into the morning. I can never quite get fully relaxed here. If you enjoy My Time at Portia, you'll almost certainly like My Time at Sandrock. It looks almost the same, feels very similar, and gives you even more to do if you're looking for something to sink your time into. However, as someone who enjoyed the original game but felt distracted by its flaws, I came away liking the concept much more than the execution. My own time at Sandrock was fun, but not quite as memorable as I would have liked, though I don't regret visiting.